All right, so today we are actually going to build a yard trailer. I'll explain it. So this trailer, it has completely changed my life around working with all this stuff, moving engines, transmissions, logs when I cut trees down, go-karts, other lawn mowers, you name it. I've transported it. I've had two 454s, or it was one 454 and I think it was a 327 or something, but two Chevy engines. I've had probably next to close to 2,000 pounds on it at a time, and it revolutionized working for me. Just the ability to put the trailer behind a lawnmower and transport large stuff, because I was working in my garage attached to my house. So to get everything from the house to the shop and then back and forth for cars, it just is the only way for me. So I was like, I'm gonna make a video about why everyone needs this trailer and some modifications and upgrades that I'm gonna do to it, or another one, and just ideas. But I'm gonna show you the one I have, and it's actually the one my dad built. So my dad built this when I was young, like probably around 5 or 6, or maybe younger, and it actually fell on my head. So it put a dent. My head actually has a dent in it from when this trailer fell. But I'll show it to you real quick. It's out here loaded up. So here it is. You might be like, oh, that doesn't seem that big. But what has made it so nice is that it is barely wider than a riding lawnmower. And if you count the deck width, it's actually about the same width as a mowing deck. And you'll see a lot of garden tractor trailers where they're itty bitty. They're about like this. They're little squares, and they're so high up. So they're made for like leaves and everything. But if you're a car guy moving engines, there's a snowblower there. I live in Florida, but everything like that, this works great. And before, my dad had 2 wheels on each one, and they were real small. They were smaller than the front tires on a lawnmower, and they didn't work. We went through the years, we've probably had at least 6 different sets of wheels. Well, these wheels are from a boat trailer that holds a boat, and I think they're 20 and a halves. And I had built them on a lawnmower hub, or my dad did, one of us, I can't remember. And this is a rear hub to a lawnmower that has I think it's only 3 lugs. Yeah, it is. See right here, it's really dirty. 1, 2, 3. And I beefed it up. See, there's the old axle. I just built it right next to it. But these have no bearings or anything. And you can see it's got an inline 6 to a Mustang, and then a Evinrude V8 midsection right now on it that I brought back here and just parked. But we're going to build this trailer to recreate it, build a second one. So here we go. So this is the shipment of metal I ordered. Dog just took my 2x4. I used that. But anyway, so this is our shipment of metal I just ordered from Metal Depot. And they seem pretty good. This is the first time I ever ordered anything from them. But I'm going to open it up, see if we have everything. Hopefully we do. Why? That was really difficult to open. The packaging is really high quality, but so we ordered 3/16" angle iron. So this is an 1.5 inches on each side. So 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, 3/16 thick. And I ordered 6-foot sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So whatever 7 times 6 is. This here is 1.5 inches diameter. Forget how thickness, maybe 3/16 or something. But it's tubing, flat bar, and then some square tube. So that's our metal, all 6-foot sections. I'm gonna make this trailer 6 foot. The other one is like 5 and foot 10 inches or something weird. But all right, now I'm gonna show you the other parts. All right, so for this trailer, I decided I'm going with actual bearings instead of metal on metal, which for a yard cart, it probably doesn't matter too much. It's been all right for decades, but bearings and everything is probably much stronger and longevity. So what I ordered is, so here are our 4-lug hubs. So we got hubs, and then it came with bearings and these axle shafts. So I'm going to put this shaft in this tube for our axle. So that'll be pretty good, making an axle. And our dog is eating the cardboard. So there's the spindle or hub and bearing. For the tires, so this trailer, we had put those tires on because they were free. We got them free. And 20.5s, what we've found over time is that even a tire that's small, like the front riding lawnmower tire, they couldn't carry the weight that we would need. Because I'm telling you, we're traveling, I'm really struggling to talk. We are transporting engines, rear ends. I just had a whole independent rear end on this thing before. So the tires have to have a good load rating. So I found the best deal. I did find those tires out there, but they're $100 each. But these are golf cart tires. And their load rating says right on it, it says max load of 940 pounds each. So almost 1,000. So I'm gonna say this is a 3/4 ton trailer. You could carry 1,500 pounds, and these would still have some weight. But what you can also tell is they're wide. And this is something else that we've found through time is because in Illinois, when we were a kid, the trailer would get sunk and dig, and garden tractors, they don't have too much power or traction. So as soon as your tires start to sink and dig ruts, she's ripping cardboard up, but you're stuck. You're completely stuck until you can wait for the ground to dry and dig it out. But with these tires, they are 18 inches tall, so it's gonna make the trailer sit better, because right now the trailer actually sits with a rake towards the mower. So this will sit only about 1 inch lower, because if it's a 2 inches shorter tire, from the center up is only a 1 inch difference. But they're wide, they're high load rating, exactly what we need, really good. And they're $50. So it's $50 for a tire and a wheel. So for maintenance and I'll show you. Oh, now you stop. You're going crazy. All right, so here's what I'm doing. So I just cut the front and rear. So I'm making this trailer 33¼ inches wide. And why I'm doing that is because a 2x6 is actually 5½ inches wide. So if you have 6 2x6s, that's 33 inches. So 6 times 5.5 is 33. So 33 inches wide. And the other trailer out there is about, the center is like 32. But for these, I cut, and you can see how I cut out just the bottom section. So it will actually fit in between these so that I can continue the same level of the lip here for the board to sit on all the way around. And then I'm gonna have cross braces as well. But that is why it's notched like that, is just so that it can sit perfectly on top and inside of these rails. So I'm just gonna put these at the front and back. Okay, so take this off. I just welded the metal on the corners, and I used right angle finders, and then after I got it squared, I measured diagonal on each side. I'll show you, I'll flip the camera around and show you right now. After I squared, I used that and this bigger one. I measured from that corner diagonal to this corner, and then you measure that corner to this corner to make an X. Each measurement should be the same, and they were. So 79½ inches was diagonal, and if they're both the same, that means you have it perfectly square. So this is an actual rectangle. So next, the next step, and just verifying again, the measurements of this currently are 6 feet. That's 6 feet exactly. And these cross rails are 33¼ inch. So the 1/4 inch is just for gaps between the wood so that the wood fits. But now I am going to cut some more angle iron here, 3/16 inch angle iron. We're gonna cut 2 pieces to come across like this to be braces underneath. So it'll go underneath this. So it'll be 2 feet increments. So 2 feet in, and then 2 feet in, and then in between them should also be 2 feet. So we'll have 3 little sections of 2 feet, dividing the 6 feet into 3 sections. So I'm gonna cut that real quick and get right back. I put marks. I measured 24½ inches in. I probably could have made marks at 25 inches just to get the center better, but that's just what I did. So I notched these as well so that this flat piece will be on the same level as this instead of sitting underneath of it. That way the wood won't sag. It'll actually be resting on this. So I think I will lift this up. Hopefully I'm not bending it. Gee. so this one needs a little notch, some work. Oh geez. And this one, maybe I should have lifted this up on a block of wood or something, but the dog took it. Okay, and this one can use some cleaning up as well. All right, I'm gonna go clean these pieces up. Come on. Probably no longer square. It's probably all bent up. I got the center braces, both of them welded in. The next stage that I'm going to do, so I was thinking, I was like, well, I could put the axle under it now. And that would be pretty beneficial to get the axle located, and then get the tongue done. And it would have been a little easier to make the tongue with it flat. If you look now, it is raised up because it's sitting on this brace. But I think now that this is the first one I've built, so I'm thinking I'm gonna do the tongue actually last and build this cart. So the next stage that I'm going to go on is building the second level. So I will go and show you my dad's trailer he built real quick. This one here, like I told you how much weight we've actually had on it, and I'm building mine out of 3/16 steel. If you look, this is bed frame. Like your air mat or your mattress sits on. See, that's where the wheels and stuff, or not the wheels, where the pieces would slide together. So this is made out of, that might be an 1/8 inch thick, I don't know. And the centerpiece that goes down, it used to go up, and you used to have to lift it up in here, and we had to screw a nut on every time, and that got annoying. But anyway, this is from a tie rod from a Bronco 2, and it's totally bent. He had hit a animal with it. And then this is like a stake you would use for your yard. See, it's like ribbed on one end. So he built this one out of leftover stuff, and this too, I just pounded one of these in for a temporary fence. This is also a yard stake. But he did get this rectangle stock. I bet he bought it from a store called My Own Surplus. But if you can look, I put a fence picket in the side because I was hauling gravel. You can see some gravel left. And then I thought for mine, I'm going to do angle iron on the top as well. And then I can run 2x8s on the side, so it'll be a fully boxed trailer. So I am going to now build this second layer of the trailer, and then we're going to weld it on top, so we'll have like a little box developed. And then we're going to build the same style he did with the arms. And if you ever see other yard trailers, they only have one rectangle stock coming out for the arm, and that's fine if you're just carrying leaves. But these trailers are heavy duty for carrying engines, transmissions, axles, you name it. So this is going to be extreme heavy duty build. So let's go back and let's measure, build that second level. So oh god, falling over. I already stepped on it. So I'm probably bending it all out of shape because I dropped it, I stepped on it. Right now I tripped over it because everything's dirty. But okay, one thing that I had to take into consideration is, so wood is actually not accurate. When you read something that says 2x6, it's not actually 2 inches by 6 inches. Why it's called that? Probably for simplicity. So a 2x6, like I said earlier, is actually 5.5 inches wide. And a 2x8, I just Googled it now, is 7.25 inches wide. So 3/4 inch difference. So I'm going to use some angle iron I have here on the ground, and where is it? This flat bar, and create the second level. And I'm gonna give it even though it's 7.25 inches, I think I'm gonna make it about 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 inches, maybe even 7.75 for room to put the board in, because you don't want to have to. I mean, I could bang it in with a mallet or a hammer, but later in life when you replace the wood on this trailer, that would suck. So I think I'm gonna make it about 7.5 inches tall, and that way you'll have a 1/4 inch. And I have to actually anticipate the thickness of the steel, so 3/6 inch steel. So we might go slightly above 7.5 inches and put that on. So that being said, I'm gonna do some measurements, cut some steel, and I'll be right back. Here it is so far. So these are 6.25 inch tall, and it's all just tack welded together. But we have 2 on each side there, and you can see that one, it's just tacked, so it can all be adjusted. But the end caps down there, that's gonna be sealed off as well. And then here, I'm gonna cut a piece of angle iron to butt weld up against this and come straight down and just butt weld up against this. So this whole corner will be solid, and that'll be solid, and the back. So it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 posts on each side, a center, and then 4 more obviously. So very rigid, very strong. This trailer is very heavy duty, like I've been saying, and I'm emphasizing that because a lot of people could say, well, this is overbuilt, and man, my rooster's going nuts. But it is. I'm building it to be able to carry about 1,500 pounds, and those tires can definitely hold that. So 1,500 pounds worth of objects or material. So I'm gonna keep going. I think I'm gonna cut these corner pieces here and tack weld them in place. And then the end caps, I have been going back and forth a little bit on an idea. So first I was thinking what would look good is to cut it and sink it in here so it's flush, and then it would butt weld up against this, so it would just come out. But then I was thinking, well, what would actually be stronger is if I took a piece and welded it like that, basically. So it just caps it, and then it goes down and it would weld. So you would see a little bump. The plate would stick out a little bit, but that would definitely be stronger. And I think I'm gonna do that. So it'll use a little more material, like a couple inches or 1.5 inch of more material on each side, but the strength will be worth it. So you can kind of see here just how it's looking. But I'm gonna cut that stuff and tack weld them in. I have everything tack welded in place. I did go with the idea that I was talking about, straight down. So everything is just tack welded in place. Running low on storage on my phone, so I'm just gonna time lapse going through and really welding, hitting everything pretty good. So Yep, I'm gonna do that. I just flipped it back over to the way you saw it. I ran out of storage when I had it filming at that angle. So you didn't see me. I flipped it over and welded on the bottom, and then I flipped it back. So this is where we are. The axle tube is here. It's not centered. You can see it's shallow right there and a bit sticking out a little more right there. So it's not centered, but this is the location where I'm thinking. So the actual center line of the axle will be a little towards the rear, so it'll have tongue weight, so it won't be squirrely or handle like crap. But that's not welded in place. The reason why I cut this tube though is because I measured that 35 inches long, and we have these axles that I showed earlier, I think, and they'll actually plug in there so that we can then weld our own axle. But the reason why I wanted to cut that first, because we're not going to weld that yet, is the tongue. So this is 1.5 inch diameter tubing, 0.12 wall thickness, I believe. Can't remember, it's thick stuff. And I'm going to line this up, the tube, get it, sorry, my dog messed me up. Get it where I need it and weld it, and then brace it like the other one you saw with that square tube here. So this is square tube, also thick, 120 wall, real thick stuff, and it's gonna be braced, like I said. So coming out to a V and then one down support. But I'm gonna get this thing centered and leveled and grind that weld there so I can get it where I need it. Finished welding. Well, I didn't finish welding. I got some good tack welds, but it's pretty hot, so I'm letting it cool. There it is. I measured a lot, and that is level with the trailer, so it's not angled up or down, and it's perfectly symmetrical from each side, centered. So that, and it's extra long right now, so I can cut it wherever I want. But there it is. There's the tongue. So now I think, since that's pretty heavily tack welded, I think I'm gonna move on to the axle and get it in place and just get this whole thing together and all the different components and everything where they need to be, so I can have a kind of like a skeleton that's done. And then go over the whole thing once again and check all welds and weld and grind anything that needs touched up. I'm gonna drill these holes off camera. They're gonna be plug welds for the axle shafts that go in. So when they come in, it won't just get welded right here. I don't have any extra hands, but it won't just go welded on the perimeter. I'll be able to plug weld and it'll be a little extra. So I'm gonna drill 4 holes on each side, or 4 holes for each. So it'll be, yeah, you'll see, and be right back. Drilled the holes. We've got one that goes all the way through like this, and then another one here that goes all the way through the other way. And we've got them on both sides. So what I'm gonna do now is use this step bit and kind of bevel it and deburr it. I'm doing that one-handed, but I don't think it's working as well as I thought. At least it'll deburr it a little bit. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, geez. But all right, I'm gonna do that and then take this axle over to the trailer. Okay, I don't know how well I can show it on camera, but it's got this burr in here, if you can see that. It's where the pipe was joined together, and it doesn't want to go in, but it does want to go in, if you know what I mean. So what I'm gonna do is use this lug nut, place it on top, see if I can't just probably breaking my concrete. I was gonna order a 1 1/4 inch drill bit so that I could run it down here, but I didn't. Okay, well I'm gonna keep working at this. All right, I got it. I did exactly what I was doing, and I'm worried. So, I mean, it's in there. I didn't know how far I want it. So, if we use this, it's in there that much. I think that'll be all right. I'm thinking the hub, maybe I should put bearings on and just check. God, if it's too far, I don't know what I'll do. But I think that much sticking out is fine. So now I'm gonna put a hub on it and just make sure that the hub doesn't hit this pipe. All right, it's gotta come out further. So I pounded it in too far. The wheel would completely rub. You can see how much metal is past that point, and it's not this one. So actually, in reality, what I should have done is made this shaft longer, because that should be pounded in that far. It should. That's how that should be done. But look how much axle I have hanging off and not on this one. So this axle probably should have been 40 inches instead of 35. So that is something that if I build another one, I'm gonna have to do, and hopefully I can just push these out. They're not gonna be set as deep, which is not good for ultra longevity. Granted, do I think it'll be a problem? No, I do not. But if anything, oh geez. Okay, well, I'm gonna get working on this and fix this. Okay, so I fixed it. So I fixed the axle. What I did was, which one was it? It was this one over here. So I clamped this in a vise here. Well, first I beat it with that big square tube that you saw. And then once I got it somewhat, I clamped this in a vise and I stuck a bolt in this hole and then hit a hammer down and pulled it out. So I pulled them out at 1.5 inches on each side. So you can see that it still has this one weld, but this one is completely gone now. So the axle, I think, is in about right here. It's not bad, but next time I would like to add that extra material here to go all the way out. This will still be plenty strong as it hangs out about right there. And these have to be this far out due to the width of the wheel. Still, this is still much stronger than the other axle I have, or the other trailer. And I think I've had at least 2,000 pounds on that with gravel and loads of bricks, concrete, logs, engines, axles, transmissions, you name it. So, but this is pretty good. Now that I know the axle is good, I'm going to center it on the center of this and measure from the front and the back and get it perfectly square and then melt it in place. So that's what's going to be next. So I'm going to measure a bunch and hopefully get it situated. So I just spent all that time measuring that axle, and the welder fell and broke. It's completely broken, and now I can't weld it. So all that time, just, why? Well, I don't know. I found my stick welding attachment right there, and I used it with some of these rods. And I'm not that good at it, but I got this tack welded in place, pretty heavily tack welded, and I used these pieces that I cut off just as some braces, and it's just this on each side for now. It's gonna get more when I get my parts in for the welder to fix that wherever I put it. Oh yeah, right there. Oops. To fix that part that broke. But for the meantime, we can get the wheels on this and flip it back over and keep going. There it is with wheels. So I'm pretty proud of it. I know the axle's far back, there's gonna be a lot of tongue weight, and that's how the other one is too. I could move the axle more forward to relieve some tongue weight off of a garden tractor. So luckily the axle can be moved, but I'll measure again on the other one, but I think I got this pretty decently positioned. And I gotta make the pin up front right there and modify that. I have not cut that, so I'm gonna cut that down to a proper length. But there it is, flipped over with wheels. And this cross member piece, it ever so slightly, it was about a 1/16 of an inch if you look at that gap, but over here it's tight. So that I got the axle perfectly squared up with everything, but this piece that I wanted to weld it to completely flush is ever so slightly off, and I could cut it and move it forward. But so now if I build another one, I'm gonna have to make sure that that is absolutely perfect before, instead of just getting it, eyeballing it, thinking, oh, it's a cross rail, and welding it in like I did. So, but yep, there it is. For the pin, the rod that drops down into the hole on the lawnmower, I was going to go to Lowe's and just get a pin just with like a flat top and everything. And I had known, so years ago, probably like 10 years ago when I lived in Illinois as a kid, I had seen this. And my dad had sent a bucket down full of scrap metal and stuff that we had in our shed, and I stuffed it under that shelf there, and I just started digging around, and there it is. This pin, I mean, I was probably 10 or 12. This thing has been making its way around, and I thought, that'd be perfect. Drill a hole through that tube, drop this down in there, and probably weld it, you'd have a handle. But then this is extra long, and it wouldn't be, I'd be wasting it because I'd have to cut it. So I started looking around, and I have this shaft that is left over from the V8 go-kart build. So I just drilled this hole in it on my little Amazon bench press right there. So, and it's the same exact diameter. So I'm gonna cut this now to the right length and drill a hole in the tongue, and first measure it and see how long I want that tongue to be, and then drill a hole, drop this in it, weld it, and then round the tongue up so it's not flat, so it'll pivot and it won't hit your garden tractor, ATV, or whatever when you turn. So I'm gonna have at it. All right, it's totally pitch black. I'm using the flashlight on my phone to measure this one to just see how, put it up against that. This one does have a thing on it, little crank. So measuring up against there, we're at about 28 inches. So if I cut this one, these tires have been known to rub on that. Oh, the dog hit me. But there you go. So I have turned sharp enough and hit these. So maybe I'll make this one 1 inch longer at 29 inches. Or I could do 2 inches and make it even, an even 30. feel like that'd be a bit long though. So we'll go 28 and a half. So that will be a total of, let's see, I built this off the other one. Ah, dang it. I'm one-handed right now. So 8.5 inches to 9 inches forward of that. Next is to pack these bearings. So I've got some gloves up in the cabinet I'm going to put on and use this Timken wheel bearing grease and just hand pack all of these, put them in here, pound these seals in the back, and then reinstall everything on the axle. I got these installed and I tightened this with this and adjusted it properly to have the right amount of, it's hard to spin because it's actually trailer sitting on it right now, but I was lifting it with one hand and adjusting it. I got it proper, and now I'm gonna drop this cotter pin down in there, bend it, and then pound this dust cover on, seal that up, put that tire back on, and I'll try to get to a little test pull, drive the trailer around today. But I'm gonna put these cotter pins in and pound this cover on. So here are the trailers side by side. This one you can see is slightly longer. That one was, like I said earlier, like 5'8", 5'10", and this is exactly 6 feet. So the center of the axle is about the same distance. This one is slightly forward more, I believe, but the size comparison and everything like that, that's a 20-inch tall tire, and this is an 18 golf cart tire. That's a boat trailer tire. And you can see this one has a midsection to a Evinrude V8 and a Ford 200 from a 66 Mustang on it. I got the trailer welded up, and I got this Rust-Oleum Royal Blue. I'm painting this trailer blue to match a Sears tractor that I'm restoring, but I'm gonna mix it in here with a little bit of thinner. This is all I got. I don't have anything else, so I'm gonna just test it all out and go paint. I got a 3M AccuSpray that I use, so I'm gonna throw a new nozzle on it because that one's used. But okay, here we go. I have a lot of paint left actually, but this thing has like 4 or 5 coats on it. I did so many coats on this. Oops, I just touched it. So it's really thick, and I'm gonna let this dry. It's like 60 degrees today in late January, but I'm gonna let this dry and then put the wheels back on and then start getting the boards for it. And I got carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, so they shouldn't rust. It shouldn't be a issue. But this thing is looking good. And the tractor that I'm gonna paint, this is actually, for some reason I thought this blue, like, look at that. Look at that, how thick it is. And it's pretty good. But the tractor I'm gonna paint and fixing is this one here. This is a Sears Suburban, and I got it stripped down. The steering wheel won't come off, so I'm gonna have to cut it off and buy a new one. But this is gonna be painted white, and the whole tractor is gonna be painted that blue, so it'll match. It'll be really nice, and it'll be a tractor and a matching trailer. And then I'll probably sell them so I can use the money from building this and then build another one. But yeah, it's turning out pretty good. Now I just gotta wait for paint to dry. I moved the trailer in here for the night, and I cut the boards last night too, so I'm gonna go grab one of them and test fit it. Maybe actually I'll test fit them all and put them in here. I don't know yet. Blam! There it is. It looks awesome. I love it. And if you do realize, I did not get the 2x8s that will go here. So I designed that for a 2x8 to slide in there. Lowe's only had 2x8 by 8 feet long, so I would have had to buy two, and it would have been pretty expensive. So I was just gonna wait till they get the 2x8 that's 12 feet, so I can just cut it in half, save some money on the build. But I switched to one bolt in the center, and I'm gonna do a front row, these two, and then one in the back, but the drill's on the charger right now, so. But I was able to get these ones done, and you can see this first one, it's off because I first was going to do two, and that's why this was positioned so that another one would be, you can actually see the mark, perfect, and it would have had two there, two and all. But then I was like, that's pretty overkill, and I actually like the aesthetic look of just center. So that's actually overkill. The other one that I have over there that my dad built, it's held in with wood screws through the bottom, like one in each board, or one in each spot, and I don't even think it has all of them. So each board probably has like 2 to 3 screws, and then gravity does the rest of the work. But this is incredibly strong, and going with one means less holes drilled in that cross brace, so it'll help retain structural integrity of the cross braces, which is always good. But there it is, and like I said, I did not get the boards to fully enclose it. If I were to do this again, which I am, this one I'm gonna build, like I was saying earlier, and match it with that tractor, and then sell this unit, and then build probably a couple more of these. But I plan to do it as like a side hustle thing. But the boards are really tight. Right here, I mean, look at that gap. I had to hammer these last two in. So when I do the next one, I'm gonna make it an inch wider. And another thing that I messed up was, I mean, it's not a bad thing, that axle tube width, you can see when we were doing that, it could have been, the tube could have been like an 1.5 inches longer on each side. So those are two minuscule mistakes. I call them mistakes, but actually this is totally fine. They're just things that could be improved. I guess another improvement too could be a piece of flat bar welded in here, or a piece of angle iron notched so that it fits in. Boom, then you could get a full angle here, just like I did on the front. Actually, that's an angle iron, so that would be good as well. And then I'm going through a little things. in my mind, I was like, oh, I was telling my wife, I go, going with flat bar on the sides, I was like, I almost wish I would have done angle. But if I would have done angle here, you can't, because it would hit the tire. Because if you had a piece of angle here, I keep saying that a lot, that ran all the way, that piece coming out would add so much more strength to this. Instead of it could bend this way easily with the middle. This piece on the back and the front helps a lot, and it's completely strong. But that is just one thing that could be beefed up, is right there. This one, you could put a piece that's angle iron right there and tap it into that cross brace. So it'd be like a U, actually, like a U. And that would be incredibly strong, but not required. This is already 3/16 inch thick. So one level above this is 1/4 inch thick. This is way heavier duty than the one that I've been using. And I have told you guys already, I've carried entire engines, transmissions, and axles, a lot of times all at once. I think I've had about 2,000 pounds worth of equipment on it. But there it is. I'm gonna get it out and get it in the sun. And there we have it. It is dog approved. Oh, never mind. It was. But yeah, you can see this shank here. I made that extra long, and it is drilled for a pin, but I made it long just so that it won't flop out or anything. But you can put a pin in it if you're worried. So there it is. 2x6s, so it's extra strong, really heavy duty. I'm really happy with its outcome, and I can't wait to get that tractor done and make it a complete unit. That concludes the build of this trailer. It was Zuri tested and Zuri approved. Thanks for watching. Bye.